Welcome, everybody, to the Success Elevated podcast. And as always, I'm your host, Hayden Lee. This is episode 22, and it's another one of those special episodes where you just get to listen to me. So you can tune out if you want, but I hope you don't, because we're going to do a little review of the last 10 episodes of the Success Elevated podcast. So I have a bunch of notes here because I don't want to forget anything. Typically, I don't have notes when I do a podcast or do an interview, but there's a lot of good things here that I want to make sure we didn't miss. The previous 10 episodes were awesome. They were freaking awesome. And I want to make sure I hit some really cool points, but as you all know, like the full episodes are out there. Go listen to them. This is not a Spark Notes, if you will, which helped me survive most of high school. But this isn't a Spark Notes for all of these episodes that you don't have to go listen. Please go listen to the podcast. We have the links to the different platforms that we're posting on. It should be in the description. Spotify, Apple, Amazon Music. If you're watching this on YouTube, all of those links should still be in the descriptions. Basically, like, go listen to those episodes. I'll probably say it at the end of this after we've had a conversation about all of these cool episodes that we've done. But if you enjoy what you're listening to, please leave us a 5-star review. We would love that. You can leave reviews on any podcast platform, or at the very least on our YouTube channel. Please subscribe. We'd love to have more viewers, more subscriptions. It really does help us in the long run so that we can keep making more of this really cool content. So anyways, I'm going to dive right in. So we're recapping the last 10 episodes. Again, we had some really, really cool ones. I'm a little biased with a couple of them, but I think they were all really awesome. So first things first, episode 12 was with Len Hume and Annette Marchanda. Len and Annette are amazing. They are just all around like amazing people. And having them come on the podcast was cool for me because they're now coworkers of mine, if you will. We don't have a lot of interaction just because we're in different lanes, but they are really, just the last couple of months that they've been here, they are really going to contribute to the growth here at Spot On Solutions. And we couldn't be more excited about having them. The big thing that I wanted to highlight from their podcast, the last 10 episodes have been about building relationships. Really, I mean, just about every episode we've mentioned that in the 10 most recent. Building relationships are a huge part of growing your business, and I don't think it matters what industry you're in, or if you own the business or are just an employee. Building relationships with people in your professional circle is a way to grow your business or grow the business that you work at. And Len hit something, the highlight of the podcast for me, and he probably said it just kind of off the cuff, and I don't even think he recognizes how just important I think this is. But Len said the key to building a good relationship with someone is to go into that relationship, go into those interactions with other people, asking how you can help them, not how they can help you. And I know it seems super simple, but it's seriously the best advice that I think he could have given and that I'm going to give to people in the future. Like, if you want to build a relationship with someone, don't go in it asking, okay, how is this person going to make me more money? How is this professional relationship going to benefit me and my business? Don't go into it like that. Go into it saying, how can I help this person? What do they need that I can provide? And in the long run, it's going to end up paying dividends for you, but in the long run, it's going to help you be a better person and help that person be better as well. So anyways, that I just wanted to hit, that was the highlight. Again, some really great insights from Len and Annette in that episode, but that was kind of the big one that I wanted to make sure I talked a little bit about. Episode 13 was with Rob Pilecki. 3 of the 10 most recent episodes that we've done have been about individuals that work at startups or that have been a part of, starting a company that, and when I say startup, I mean a lot of small businesses are startups, but startups in the fact that they are looking to go global. They're, I think hoping it someday to be acquired by a larger company. These really, really large companies that are trying to develop funding and all sorts of different things. Rob developed this all from an idea that he patented for a company called Washi. And it's a fascinating episode. You've got to go listen to it about how he developed multiple patents and failed multiple times and was going to get on Shark Tank and quit his job so that he could do it, and it ended up not working out. Like, the whole thing is just a crazy roller coaster of a story. And he's really built something that it's going to support his family and multiple of his employees' families. It's just a really, really cool story. I think the biggest thing that I took away from Rob was just how supportive his family is and how supportive his close network is around him, that they've always believed in him. He's an immigrant. His family are immigrants from New Zealand, and they sacrificed everything to kind of build the American dream and come to the U.S. And it was just a really heartwarming story about how supportive his family is, his mom and dad, siblings, whatever, but also his wife and his kids, and just how much they believe in him. And I know not everybody out there is as blessed as Rob is, and as blessed as I am with how awesome my family is. But find a support group or a support circle that believes in you. And I think ultimately it's having people that you can lean back on when you fail or when things don't go as perfectly as you planned is huge. It's hugely important. So Rob was awesome. Rob was really, really cool. Episode 14 was with the president and CEO of Bank of Idaho, Jeff Newgard, which is really, really cool for me. Reached out to him through LinkedIn, which I'll probably hit at multiple times. LinkedIn has been, I feel like I'm late to the party, and I'm probably talking about it in a way that people are like, Hayden, didn't you know LinkedIn existed for the last freaking 10 years for all I know? And yes, I am late to the party. I just hit 100 connections a couple weeks ago, and I was super stoked about that. But LinkedIn, and this goes back to even Rob, LinkedIn is a great way people are building their businesses right now. Build your network, connect with people. Every single posts on LinkedIn, more so than any other social media that I found, super positive. And maybe that's just because I haven't found the bad part of LinkedIn yet. I don't know, but super positive, and it's all about people just trying to grow together. And it's refreshing for me compared to all other types of social media. But anyways, Rob was another one that I contacted through LinkedIn. But Jeff was a really, really cool conversation because he, president and CEO of a really large, all things considered, large here for Idaho, a really large company. And the big things that he hit on were company culture, and how, as the president and CEO of a large company that, just hit $1 billion in assets, no big deal, just $1 billion, how you have to set the vision and the culture as the leader, as the face of this, large organization. You have to set the vision. Your attitude and how you show up to work every day, all of that contributes to the culture of your company. And if you're not positive and not focused on your goals, how can you expect anybody else at the organization to feel the same way? So it was just really, really interesting to me, and how, building that culture of kindness and all of that is just hugely critical. He also talks about the importance of anybody, like a small business owner, partnering with a good financial institution, and how that can help accelerate your growth. I think, especially in the industry that I focus on most of the time, which is the restoration and cleaning industry, cash flow can be a big deal, and cash flow can be difficult to have at times. So working with a good financial institution that you could potentially get business loans with, and all sorts of things, can just really help put your mind at ease, that you're going to be able to maybe make payroll or pay for new equipment or whatever it might be. It was a cool conversation here from someone on the inside, and how critical small business owners are to a bank such as Bank of Idaho. So really cool conversation. Next guest, again, another great connection through LinkedIn, Clint Weston. Clint actually reached out to me through LinkedIn about the podcast. He had seen some of the episodes that we had shared. Clint is also part of a startup in Utah, and was, the founder of this idea to, help kind of the cash flow issue that I talked about, help, suppliers and vendors be able to work out some of those cash flow problems. And while that's all cool and stuff, I think Clint it was such an awesome conversation with him. I hadn't spoke to him at all previous to sitting down for that interview. And we spoke for an hour, and he treated me like I was a long lost friend of his. And it was just so refreshing and just so cool of a conversation to have. He talked about how even at the startup level, which, startups I think are so focused on where can I acquire more funding so that we can, maybe make payroll or continue this path of huge exponential growth. He talked about how it was important for him and his employees to have a company vision and a mission statement that was positive about building their community and building up their employees so that their employees could be successful. That was important to him. And I'm sure funding and all those other things are also important, but really for him, it was let's have a mission statement. Let's have values that reflect what we want to do in our community and how we want to set up our employees' future. And it was a really, really cool conversation. When I hear startups, I see dollar signs, right? I think everybody does to an extent. All these startups, they're going to make a bazillion dollars and it's going to be incredible. It was really, really cool to hear him talk about, let's have a positive mission statement and some core values that will kind of help us grow. Will help us grow at a good rate and a positive rate because we're building up our employees, but also just help us, make positive change in his community. It was really cool. The other big thing that I wanted to hit on with Clint, and please, again, go listen to these episodes. They're incredible. Clint talked about the Silicon Slopes, which is, I think a buzzword that's getting thrown around a little bit more here in, the Idaho, Utah area. There's a lot of startups that either started in Utah or maybe started somewhere else, but have come to Utah to help accelerate their growth. And I was curious, why Utah of all places? And he talked about the diversity. And I say that word cautiously because I think it's kind of a buzzword these days. And when people think of Utah, I think they definitely don't think of diversity. But he talked about the diversity of people, but also of landscapes, and how those landscapes and those people, and you're meeting new people every day, how that has helped accelerate these business ideas. And that there's also a really family-driven culture in Utah, and how the support of family, kind of going back to what Rob Pilecki said, the support of having family at home that believes in you is also what will accelerate this growth of these Silicon Slopes. So anyways, I wanted to hit at a couple of those things with Clint. Clint was amazing, and I consider him a friend after only having an hour conversation with him. He was just that genuine and that cool. So episode 16. So again, my bias is going to come out a little bit in a couple of these conversations, but episode 16 was with my uncle, Dwight Lee. Dwight owns an insurance agency that he has kind of built from the ground up, built from square one. And I'm extremely blessed to have such successful people around me, and not only his friends, but his family. Dwight has built a company based on customer service. The insurance industry, you will find a lot of times, if you do things correctly, you're going to have lifelong customers. You're going to have people that are going to buy their insurance with you for the rest of their lives. And so Dwight, instead of having a high turnover and just trying to be as cutthroat and as cheap as possible, is instead focused on, okay, how can I provide, and how can my employees provide the highest quality customer service? And that's how we're going to keep customers for as long as possible. And he's built relationships with people, and he goes out in the community and tries to support as many things as he can. But really, providing a good quality customer service is how you develop those lifelong customers. And he's speaking from experience. He practices what he preaches. He might own an insurance agency, but he's also an insurance agent. So if he has written one of your policies, you can call and talk to him, and he's a real person. You're not calling a call center somewhere and hoping that you get a real person and not a robot. You can call and talk to Dwight and ask him questions, and he'll be able to provide answers for you. And it's just really, really cool, and it's a testament to a business that he's built over the last decade and a half, and really a testament to who he is and what he's trying to build there. So really, really cool. Again, my bias is showing a little bit because he's my uncle and I love him, but I think he's built an incredible business, and it's been built upon customer service. So kind of cool. Episode 17, Michelle Blevins. Michelle, we work pretty closely with Michelle on a variety of things with her website and stuff like that. So what she is doing at C&R Magazine is just incredible, and the growth that she's achieved over the last couple of years, we've kind of had an under the hood look because of our partnership with her, but it's just been incredible to watch it grow, and how she's gone from kind of doing it all herself to now she has multiple employees, and what she's been able to do there is just amazing. And she, again, kind of the theme, the last 10 episodes have been relationships and building relationships. She puts that all on relationships. The reason that she's been able to grow as much as she has been is because of the people that she's met and what she's been able to work on because of having the support of those individuals. She said multiple times, and we have a quote in the description of her episode where it says, relationships drove everything. Every growth, every bit of ad sales, everything that has come through the C&R magazine has been because of some relationship that she's built. Going to a trade show, meeting people, shaking hands, and Michelle didn't say this, but I would assume because of how successful she's been, a lot of those relationships have been built because of what Len Hume said. Because Michelle has gone into every single one of those relationships saying, what can I do to help this person? Not, okay, how is this person going to help me sell more subscriptions, or how do I get this person to buy more ad space on my website? She's not going into relationships like that. She's going into them saying, how can I help this person? What can I do for them? And ultimately it's paid dividends for her, and it's only going to help the trajectory of C&R Magazine just explode into the future, which I'm excited to somehow be a part of that and be able to watch that happen. It's going to be really, really awesome. Episode 18, mentioned it briefly, trade shows. We talked with Michelle Blevins, but 18, we did a trade show roundtable, which was fun. It was a little chaotic because there was 5 of us on a Zoom call, but it was cool because I got to have Kenyon Martin, who obviously previous guest, Derek Priest, previous guest, and my boss, and Matt Hensley. Matt I had not met previous to that call, so it was cool to sit down and get to have a chat with him, and then to have Kenyon and Derek, who also know him, be able to kind of feed in some questions and have just a good conversation about the importance of trade shows. Now, again, everybody should go listen to these episodes, and the trade show roundtable was really cool for us. We talked a lot about the restoration industry, and that's great because a lot of our audience is the restoration industry. But if you're not a part of the restoration industry, what I would take from that episode is there is a community out there for you. If you own a small business, I can guarantee there's a community out there for you. It might only be on the internet and maybe a Facebook group or something. There might not be a trade show for it yet, but find a community that can support you and help you. Kenyon, which we'll actually talk about it in a future episode. We're going to have Kenyon on again to the podcast. He talks about being friends with your competitors, which I know sounds so counterintuitive. At least for me, it did. But if you build a network and build, it's a buzzword. I've said it a billion times in this episode. But if you build relationships with your competitors and people around you, it's only going to help everybody grow, right? I think the phrase, I'm going to butcher this, but the cliche phrase is a rising tide raises all ships, right? So if everybody's getting better, you're going to get better. And so trade shows are a way to do that, right? Like find trade shows that are interested, that you are interested in, and that are a part of your community, whether you own a small business or, where maybe you work at a business that is looking to grow. Find a community or a trade show and go into that trade show with a game plan to elevate the people around you. And it's going to elevate your business big time. So it was just a cool episode. Go check it out. Like I said, it was a little chaotic because we were trying to kind of navigate how to have 4 people on a Zoom call. But it was really, really awesome. And I think there's some good insights there. Episode 19, we had Cindy Reese on. Now, Cindy, I work with her pretty closely on the Greater Blackfoot Area Chamber of Commerce, where we're both volunteers. Cindy works full-time at a car dealership here in Blackfoot, in my hometown. But she also volunteers at an organization called ESGR. And ESGR, I butchered it a couple times in the episode, but it's the Employer Support of the Guard and Reserve. And what that organization, what their goal is to help employers know that they can hire people that are in the Guard and Reserve, and that these people are excellent individuals that are going to work hard and help grow their company. And that, they might have to take off, once a month to go do some training, and once a year to go do some extended training. But ultimately, these individuals are assets to their organization. And that's kind of the whole goal behind the ESGR, is to advocate for people that are in the Guard and Reserve and help them find employers that are going to, support them, which is really, really cool. Cindy, that organization, Cindy volunteers a lot in a lot of different stuff, like I said, with the Chamber of Commerce and I'm sure other spots. The ESGR is super important to her because of a really, really awesome experience that she had, and I won't spoil that. I want everybody to go listen to it during that episode. She had a really, really cool experience that provoked her to get involved in ESGR, and actually ended up provoking her daughter into joining the National Guard. And so Cindy has an emotional tie to this. And if there's one takeaway that I could have, other than, if you own a small business, don't shy away from hiring someone that's in the Guard or Reserve. Other than that, I think, again, looking at the big picture, find something that you're passionate about and go volunteer. I think we're also concerned with making as much money as possible. If you listen to this podcast and you're a small business owner, you're probably trying to look at ways to make more money and help your business grow. And that's hugely important, and I'm here for that. But finding a place that you can volunteer and give your time to help others, I think not only is it so enriching, but it just makes you a better person. And I've said it probably a dozen times over the course of this podcast, but if I'm a little bit better today than I was yesterday, I've succeeded. And I think volunteering in a local organization, some kind of nonprofit, is a way to do that. So that was kind of my big takeaway from that. Obviously, the ESGR is super cool, and what they're doing is amazing. And I mean, they're looking for volunteers nationwide, so you could go volunteer with the ESGR. But maybe if that doesn't do it for you, find an organization that you can volunteer at. And I can't promise this, but I really do believe it's going to make you a better person. So, episode 20. Episode 20 was with Jeremy Reitz, who is kind of the founder and owner of Reitz Drying Academy. And we talked about some amazing things. If you're in the cleaning or restoration industry, you know Reitz Drying Academy. You've heard of them. You've probably taken some training from them. What they do is incredible, and they help train restoration owners and their technicians how to take care of, flood damage, water damage, mold remediation, all of that stuff. They do some really awesome training. And while we talked a little bit about that during the podcast with Jeremy, Derek actually helped me interview Jeremy. The big things that I took away from that, and it was actually the title of the episode, is adapting to change. Jeremy has had to adapt to change his whole life, and small business owners, it's a daily thing you have to do, is find ways to adapt to change. And he actually, we talked about it multiple times, and he said in one little clip, he talked about how small business owners were enamored with change. We're always looking for ways to change up our business model or whatever it might be to help us grow our business. And he said, while that's crucial, what's also crucial is staying focused. So find what's going to help your business, make more money, or hire better employees, or train better employees, or whatever it might be, and then focus in and double down and really try and be better at those things. He says by adapting to change, you also need to learn how to focus on what's important. And I thought that was a cool paradigm, that you got to be always willing to change and looking for ways to change, but at the same time, once you've kind of found those changes, double down, focus in, and focus on what's going to make you and your organization better. So really, really cool stuff. Jeremy was an awesome interview. We kind of ended the interview by talking a little bit about an event that REIT's Drying Academy is hosting called the Next Level event. And me and Katie Harris, another one of my bosses, we're actually going to be attending that event here in a couple of weeks, and I'm super, super excited about that. I think it's going to be really cool. Last episode that I wanted to talk about in these 10 that I'm going to be highlighting was, again, my bias is going to be showing, but it was with my brother-in-law, Lon Krieger. And Lon is a local guy here in Southeast Idaho that, again, works for a startup. And I know most small business owners, those are technically startups. Lon works for a startup in the agriculture space. And it was fascinating to listen to him talk about the business and the industry that he works in. But I think more importantly, and I think he'll agree with me, we had some really cool conversations about how you can achieve rapid growth. And what he's found in his career, because he's, obviously didn't start as the CCO of a large, international organization. He didn't do that, fresh out of college, whatever. When Lon was younger, and again, I don't want to highlight too much of the podcast because I want people to go listen. When Lon was younger, Lon identified some skills that he had within himself. One of those being leadership. And he found that he could be a real asset to a company through that, leadership skill, right? And I wanted to highlight that not only in that episode, which I tried to there, but I also wanted to do it here as well. If you can identify a skill that you have that you're really good at, and it might be leadership, but it might be math or relationships with others, whatever it might be. Identify that skill and shape it and hone that skill, double down on that skill, and find a way to make an impact in your daily life. Lon, if you've ever met Lon is a force of nature. And I say that in a totally positive way. Lon, when he walks into a room, can impact a room immediately. Just with his personality and who he is, and it's who he naturally is. But he's also, in a business setting, honed that skill to where he can positively impact an organization for, and make it better and help it grow. And he's done that through his leadership skills and through, building an effective and positive company culture. And that's how he's, helped achieve rapid growth. And what he's hoping to do with, the startup that he's working at is by, through his leadership skills and through, building relationships and helping his employees be more effective, hoping to achieve that rapid growth that we talk about. So again, there's a ton of really, really good insights in Lon's episode and in Lon's interview. So I don't want to talk about everything, but one of the big ones there was finding a skill that you think you're good at, and then doubling down and finding a way to use that skill to impact the organization that you work in. That's what I think is so important. And maybe you're a small business owner and finding a skill that you can help impact your business, or maybe you're an employee like I am. And my goal is to find a skill that I'm good at and find a way to impact, the organization I work at, Spot On Solutions. So anyways, it was fascinating to hear it come from him, because Lon's been in the agriculture industry for a long time, but he's also been a leader he's been in leadership roles for a long time. And it's been because he's found skills that he's good at and then doubled down, found a way to impact the organization. So that kind of wraps up the review of the last 10 episodes. And I hope you got some good information out of this. I hope you found this interesting. Please go listen to these episodes. I kind of gave the Spark Notes, the Reader's Digest version, if you will, of the last 10 episodes, but go check them out. Go give them a listen. There's really, really good information, and way more than even I talked about in those episodes. We'll have a link in the description that'll take you to, our Spotify page that has all the episodes, Apple page that has all the episodes, Amazon Music, all of it. Please go give them a listen. If you enjoy the content, leave us a 5-star review. It's super, super helpful to help us get more listeners and more engagement. If you're listening on YouTube or watching on YouTube, go hit subscribe, comment on a video that you like. Let us know what guests you'd like to see in the future. And going forward, I hope we can continue to produce some really, really awesome content. Thanks, guys. This has been Success Elevated, making you a little bit better one show at a time. Thanks for joining us. Subscribe on any major podcast platform, or check out our website at successonpoint.com.